Our enemies force our battles, understanding the true nature of evil. Now, I must admit that many times when I talk about evil on this channel, some people may think, oh, let's not do that, right? Throughout history, the concept of evil has been debated and even diluted by moral relativism. Some would argue that everyone has a dark side, which minimizes the existence of true evil. However, history presents undeniable cases of outright malevolence, where individuals and societies have inflicted immense suffering upon others. This video seems to want to clarify the nature of true evil by examining the actions of those who've committed atrocities and contrasting them with cases where society just simply uses labels unjustly to people simply because they stand up for their rights. So let's define evil beyond moral relativism. The claim that everyone has a dark side does not negate the reality of outright evil. Some actions surpass mere wrongdoing and reach the level of pure malice. Acts such as genocide, enslavement, child exploitation, voodoo dolls, trying to swallow the souls of others, mass murder, these things are not ambiguous. Through this death and suffering, we must recognize that evil exists in its most blatant form. Historical atrocities as evidence of evil should be a thing that we look at because then it can give us perspective. Think about the Nazi regime. The Holocaust was not really a war crime, but a deliberate extermination campaign that led to the systematic slaughter of millions. Victims were not only killed, but also dehumanized, reduced to mere resources of material gain. We've seen that during the Middle Passage and the slavery experience, which is just as horrific. And so, from an industrial standpoint, the fact that we had evil can't be softened by philosophical arguments. The Nazis transformed murder into an industry, treating people as raw materials. They used wigs, they used teeth, they used eyes, they used skin, made into lampshades. This is evil, okay? When people enslave, exploit, use for profit and power, engage in child trafficking, molestation, murder, they operate with the most sinister intent. Let's not beat around the bush about that. These acts are not misunderstandings or subjective moral failings. They are unequivocally malevolent. Acknowledging and confronting evil wherever we find it, it would be dangerous to downplay the existence of true evil when it exists. So to just categorize others as, well, you're not really evil, everybody's got a little evil in them, is to do no justice to the term. Evil is not simply about perspective, it is about intent and consequence. The false equivalence of moral ambiguity, it becomes a significant mistake in modern discourse because we conflate legitimate evil with behaviors that society finds displeasing. For example, women who refuse to conform to a patriarchal expectation are likely to be demonized for reclaiming their power. That is not evil, and it never was. Likewise, many individuals are unfairly labeled as immoral for standing against oppressive systems. Civil disobedience, that is not evil. These cases demonstrate the misuse of moral judgment, and they should not distract from identifying and confronting the real, actual evil. We have real evil versus misguided perceptions. Not everyone who's deemed a villain by society is truly evil. Many historical figures who challenged power structures and oppressive norms were wrongfully vilified. If you ever heard of the move bombing in Philadelphia, then you would realize that these individuals that were in these neighborhoods were branded as evil by the police, and they proceeded to bomb the heck out of these blocks, killing children, killing some adults, and burning hundreds of houses and causing untold economic damage. This act itself was evil, but the police justified it by claiming the people they attacked were evil. That's when this moral equivalence or moral relativism goes haywire, and you're pointing the evil in the wrong direction. The evil does really exist, and we must acknowledge it, and we must recognize when that evil has occurred in human society, so we know not to repeat it again. We know not to commit this atrocity of sin, which goes beyond the pale. Society must avoid moral relativism when discussing extreme acts of cruelty. While misunderstandings and unjust accusations can occur for things which are not truly evil, they should not be used to dilute the seriousness of true evil when we see it. Recognizing and addressing malevolence is crucial for preventing further atrocities and ensuring justice. Every time a wrongfully convicted person was executed, this was truly evil. Now, obviously, people will say, well, they meant well, right? They thought they had the right person, but did they? Because sometimes in some of these cases, the evidence is there. There's clearly a conflict, and they're rushing to say, no, 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 don't worry about it. Go ahead and sign off on this death warrant. That is really what evil becomes. Is evil becomes when you're so reckless and willing to truly harm others, whether it be preying on children, raping women, committing mass murder, committing genocide, turning around and just stealing the resources of people, leaving them to a life of starvation, taking away their ways that they can survive, which results in untold casualties. This is evil. And once we realize that, it makes an easier case for us to go out and argue against it because of the fact that evil should not be permitted anywhere it may rise. If you see a government which is rising in power under a populist president, you should be extremely wary because that is the type of country that will commit evil. They will turn around and have certain people that are under certain people just sort of fall in line and just do what never needs to be done. And this is where maybe it was at the Stanford experiment or these other kinds of experiments teach us a powerful lesson that just because one was just following orders and committing atrocities doesn't make it that was ever right. You have a duty. You have to civilly disobey. You have to recognize, I'm not doing this. This is wrong. If someone tells you, oh no, these children are the children of terrorists, we must execute every last one of them or they will grow up to come find us, that is true evil. The terrorists made their decisions and they were dealt with accordingly. And that's perfectly fine. But the children, who we don't know who they will grow up to be, they may very well become defectors. They may very well come to realize that their parents' cause is not their cause because it was a truly evil cause. This is where we must not throw around the term evil haphazardly. We must give people a chance to make their choices. This is what the Most High God does for us, is He gives us the ability to choose, and our direction that we go in our life, how close we are to our purpose will change depending on those decisions made. At the end of the day, God gives us the freedom to be able to go out and become the next Hitler. Doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean that that's a great thing to do because you have the freedom to do it. It means that you have to make a moral choice, and whatever moral choice you make can definitely affect many. If you've ever read the book of Psalms, you'll realize that there are references to Elohim and Elohim. What do I mean? The first Elohim I'm referring to is God, a divine level being. The next references to Elohim in Psalms tend to be judges and magistrates and rulers, people who have to make decisions in the lives of others who have considerable authority. If you've ever read the Bible carefully, you would realize that even when you have the leaders you don't like in power, it is God's will that they be there. Sometimes you may have to just endure the suffering at the hands of a terrible leader, but God will take care of it. God will take care of the problem. As long as they continue to turn from God's word and God's ways, and they continue to harm people over and over and over again, simply based on profit or motive, which is a very negative and nefarious motive, then you're going to have to recognize that there is, in fact, evil. And we can draw the line where that might be. And we can also acknowledge that other types of things which have been labeled evil over the years are not truly evil. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're new here, this is a safe space. If you're returning, I love and appreciate you so much, and I'm glad that you're back. In the name of the Most High God, I wish you health, wealth, prosperity, and abundance. Blessings and protection. Signing off. Take care. Have a great day.